2023 is over. We visited both parks this year. We go over our highs, our lows, our shocking moments, and our disappointments. This is episode 78 of Salute to the Ears. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Ears. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Erica.
And we are finally back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hope you had a happy holidays. We've had a lot.
I feel like we say this every time.
We do. Every time.
The fact is, we really have had a lot happen in the last month, but last 6 weeks or so has just been insane.
Right. Everybody's busy during the holidays. So I guess it's just an excuse, but it was really busy.
It is and it isn't. Biggest thing was that threw off our entire month in the best way. You can say that, is that you had surgery.
I did.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But
everything's good.
Everything's good.
It just happened a little quicker than I think we were kind of expecting.
Yeah. And a little more invasive because of your previous injuries. But all is well now. You're feeling a lot better, but it meant a good week of...
Yeah, at least I'm really not doing anything.
Yeah.
It drove me bonkers.
Absolutely insane. But I'm glad we got it done now.
Yeah.
And got it taken care of, but it threw off our entire...
End of the year.
So trying to record and trying to get things set up and trying to figure stuff out was just kind of off the table for right now, which is okay.
Yeah. 2023 was just kind of a crazy year to begin with.
I went into 2023 thinking it's going to be busy. We had a lot of stuff planned.
Mm-hmm.
We knew we were going to be heading into Jackson's senior year. There was a lot coming into 2023, both for the podcast and just in our life.
Right.
I did not expect it to be so up and down all year.
Yeah. No, it was. And we did a lot, Disney-wise, we did a lot.
Yeah, we did. We hit both coasts.
Yeah, which is the first time we've done that. We're just a few months apart. Not the first time we've done 2 trips in 1 year.
No.
But first time we've hit both coasts. First time we both have been to Disneyland in years.
Mm-hmm.
Years. First time our kids have been to Disneyland. Which we'll get more into that. And Disney themselves had kind of an up and down year, crazy year as well. With everything from layoffs to try and catch up, try to get back on the right side of things economically. Yeah, thousands of people got laid off.
Yeah.
And then stocks hit record lows, which is not necessarily ever a good sign.
Yeah. We talked about this. We were prepping for this episode and what do we want to talk about from 2023? And what do we want to talk about from this last year? And one of the things that we said was this was the first full year of Bob Iger being back at the helm.
Right.
And how does that change what happens, or how did it change, what happened within the company?
Well, one of the things that happened was he gave himself an extension, or the board gave him an extension. So where he is there till 26,
mm-hmm.
and he says that's it. He says, don't listen to rumors. That's it.
I can't believe his wife allowed it.
I know. He said that is it. He is for sure done, and hopefully sometime here into this next year, beginning of the one following, they have the successor in place because they want him to learn on the job for a while.
There was enough things that needed to happen to fix things,
mm-hmm.
But then there's also the things of setting it up for him to leave.
Right.
It's not enough to just fix the things and then leave if you haven't done the prep work ahead of time.
They tease all kinds of stuff for the parks.
Oh my gosh. So many blue sky moments and just big drops of ideas.
But nothing concrete, nothing solid of them going, yep, this is what we're doing. So we just still have ideas for Dinoland and Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Possibilities of stuff over in Magic Kingdom.
I really hoped that we would get more about Dinoland.
Yeah, I did too. I figured for sure that would be the first
like
one.
stalled out right now.
Yeah. I think part of that is Epcot. Like,
yeah.
Well,
maybe now that it's done.
Well, it's not done. It's getting close. It's close,
It's
but it's not done. You still have walls up. And then like Disneyland, like stuff for Avatar and Downtown Disney and what do they call it? Disney Forward or sorry, we're not as up on our Disneyland stuff, but like Josh talking about teasing like, oh, we have enough land where we can put in a whole nother Disneyland if we want. Like
what?
Yeah. Everyone's talking about how they don't have any land. Well, they got some land still. Like they can still do some stuff. So they're thinking about it. We just didn't get anything concrete.
Yeah.
Now there was some stuff that happened in the parks this year that like some stuff ended. We got some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's go with, I guess, some of the stuff that ended in 23. I guess that makes the most sense, right?
Yeah. There's this thing happening right now on like TikTok and Reels where it's the ins and outs, right? So what are you bringing into 2024 and what are you leaving in 2023? And so what are we leaving in 2023? What is out?
Okay. So I guess might as well get the biggest one and one that's the least fun to talk about in many different ways out of the way, and that would be Splash Mountain.
I thought we weren't going to talk about this.
I know. We can't. Like, it was the biggest thing.
It really was.
It really was. And part of me is sad to see Splash go because we had so many memories there. We've talked about this a billion times. Both sides, the save Splash and it's time to get rid of Splash sides. Both sides started getting kind of nasty. So I'm glad it's done and over with. It's all going to get stirred up again in 24 whenever it opens.
Right.
But Splash is no more.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same at all. Like,
no, it doesn't. I mean, even when we were in each respective park this year, how much had already been done and how much had already changed in just a couple of months.
Right. Because they started in Walt Disney World a couple months at least before Disneyland. And part of that is because the mountain itself was bigger.
Right. It was a different scale of what they had to do.
When we got to Disneyland, we had just missed it by a couple of days. I know. And part of me is sad because we were like, oh, it'd be nice to ride it one more time. But same time, I didn't want to deal with that crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd was bad enough the way it was. But yeah, now there's trees all over that thing now. The top of the mountain's gone. Like the queue in Disney World has bright yellow, and I mean it's a big overhaul. Like big overhaul.
The pictures I have seen so far, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
I am. I'm hopeful. Hopeful is a really good word with that. So, unfortunately, we are leaving Splash Mountain in 2023. It is.
Yep, it's no more.
It's out.
Yep, it's out. We had some shows that we left behind.
We did.
Yeah.
One that I wasn't super sad to see go.
Right. Debbie Enchantment or Harmonious?
Harmonious.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed Enchantment enough that I'm a little sad.
I liked Harmonious. Like the barges in the Stargate didn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
Like I loved the brilliant colors. Yeah. I love the brilliant colors and the music.
Yeah. I didn't mind the show itself until I saw World of Color. So once I saw World of Color and saw what that was and the brilliance of that and the projections on the water, I was like, oh, this is what they wanted in Harmonious. And to have this, like, I wanted to have this reaction that was like, you know, emotional rise of what like what we got out of World of Color in Disneyland or in California Adventure, but the the thing is that like I never got that in Harmonious. It was cool. I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad, but I am okay with leaving it in 2023.
Okay.
Enchantment had enough pieces for me that I was like, okay, I can see this.
Yeah, it did. And it, like we've said before, it connected with younger kids, which is really what they were going for. I'm sad to see Harmonious go, just because of what has replaced it, which we'll get into a little bit, which isn't necessarily bad. Like, we'll get into that here in a little bit, but like, not only did they say goodbye to Horizons, and then Epcot Forever came in, and now that's gone as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're saying that one's never coming back. So, 3 shows in 1 calendar year in Epcot. And now you had Enchantment, which is gone.
Yeah.
And Happily Ever After came back. Yeah.
Thank the Lord.
Happily Ever After is definitely a step up from Enchantment. I just don't know how long it's going to stick around. They're going to have to find something, add to it more, change some things out so that it does continue to connect with the littles.
Yeah.
Because not all the littles enjoyed the same movies that our kids did when they were young.
There's still a lot of the ones that our kids liked that they like. There's still enough of that hype. I think the ones that are going to start becoming an issue are the classics.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough of the classics that I think the younger generation is not seeing that, like, I think our kids, the kids that are teenagers now and older, like teenagers to 20s,
right,
did still see a lot of those classics where like we shared them with them. Yeah. I think you're starting to get into the kids who are under the age of 15 now, right, haven't seen the classics. They haven't seen a lot, like they may not have seen the original Jungle Book. They may not have seen, Alice in Wonderland, like the original ones. They may not have seen, a lot of these movies that even some of the rides and stuff are based off of. Uh-huh. So it doesn't mean the same thing to them. I do wish that they would have combined Enchantment and Happily Ever After a little bit more. Yeah. There were definitely some aspects, especially there at the end when they added Walt's voice.
Right.
I loved that.
Yeah. No, that took it up. Took it up another level from where it was before. I think one of the problems with Enchantment was it was relying pretty heavily on Raya.
Yeah.
And it did not do nearly as well as what they were hoping for.
No, but I mean, in their defense, that's all planned out months in advance.
It is. It is. I think going back over to Epcot, I think part of the problem with Harmonious is we've said this before, Epcot loyalists are probably the loudest group out of all the parks. Like, now granted, they don't really mess with a whole lot of Magic Kingdom. Like, there are some things like evidently Splash, like that really made some people upset. But
and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Tomorrowland.
You start messing with the sight lines and stuff, and the people who really love Epcot were very loud. Mm-hmm. Very loud about it. In the show that has replaced it is Luminous. Mm-hmm. Beautiful colors again.
Yeah.
Like, now the barges, your tacos, are portable, so they take them in and out of there every day, kind of like the old Illuminations where they'd bring the globe out. Like, they raise the bridge, they bring them out. There's 6 of them, so you can see it from multiple places around the park, which is great. I love that. The big issue people are having with it, which I hope to go see it soon, is the music. It's too slow.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's slow. And the people who are like older school Epcot and really remember Illuminations, this is kind of like, they're like, oh, there's stuff in there that's kind of throwbacks to that.
Yeah.
Which they really like. The newer 20-somethings that have like discovered Epcot more recently
Yeah.
are not happy because they're like, I've been hanging here in Epcot all day with my friends, and now I have this show at the end of the night that's slow and
Putting
pulling
me
at
to
your
sleep.
heart
Yeah.
and trying to make you cry. And there's like nothing upbeat. They want a party. Like they want one that is
Well,
more upbeat and more of a party.
Again, I just don't think that like the slow, like, I don't think it has enough of the combination and that kind of roller coaster of
Yeah, this is
emotional.
just like slow and emotional. I want to make you cry from the beginning to the end.
Which, like, if
And
you,
there's some song choices in there that's like I love Toy Story and I love the music from Toy Story, but I
Yeah.
don't know why it's in there.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me for a show in Epcot.
Right.
It does make sense to me when it's in Magic Kingdom
Magic Kingdom or
Hollywood.
Hollywood, yes.
Totally makes sense to me.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me in Epcot. So,
Yeah.
what else are we leaving in 2023? What else is out?
What else are we leaving in 2023? Trying to think if anything else is closing down in 2023. There were some restaurants along the way, primarily like in Disney Springs.
Yeah.
But nothing big. Yeah, I think that's really it of the things we really said goodbye to in 2023. Other than maybe like some parking signs and stuff like that, which was its own controversy. There's controversy over everything. So
you get used to the way things are.
Right.
I mean, we see this even in our own community of like people wanting things to stay the same.
Right.
And they're not going to. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is. I think next episode we're going to talk about what we're getting in 2024.
Okay.
Okay. So
what did we get though in 2023?
What did we get? So let's go over to Disneyland, where we got Toontown.
We did get Toontown back.
And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
I was so excited about this. We talked about this on a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't catch that this summer, check out our entire breakdown of
Right.
our Disneyland trip from end of May and beginning of June. The thing that I loved about the updated things in Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure was the immersiveness.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't necessarily feel that in the same way at like regular parts of Disneyland, but like old school parts of Disneyland.
Okay.
But the immersiveness of Toontown, the immersiveness of Cars Land, the immersiveness of
Avengers Campus.
Avengers Campus. Thank you. I'm like, I can see it in my head and it's right there. Let me get in my map. The immersiveness though of those things was so incredible, and Toontown was definitely up there. I mean, you just felt like you just walked into even the way the skyline looks, like in the way that they built up the buildings and the edge of the set essentially.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times during the day it just disappears.
It does.
Like you don't even realize that you're still standing outside.
No, I felt like we were talking about Mickey and Minnie's. I feel like that was a flex for modern day Imagineers.
Yes.
Especially the queue.
Yeah.
Like same ride system, same ride as what's in Disney World.
Right.
But it's a new building and a completely different queue, where if your kids definitely grew up watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse like ours did, there are so many things in there that are
Easter
nods.
eggs, many different like character things. You get to see Toodles.
Right.
I mean, it was awesome. And my only downside to it was that we were there early enough.
Right.
There was no line.
Yeah, so we had to
walk
all the way through it.
Rushing through the line, and so we didn't get to experience all
right. That was the big thing that got added this year to Disneyland or DCA. And it was, like I said, it was phenomenal. I mean, they had shows. Oh, I just thought of one. Got to go back. They lost Fantasmic.
Yeah.
They lost Fantasmic this year. And the Maleficent's dragon is forever gone.
Now, that was not a plan.
That was not. But it's still, it's gone forever. Like, Phantasmic's coming back, but they've already said it will not be with the dragon.
Which, I'm like, how do you do it then?
Yeah, I don't know. But also over there in Disneyland, I mean, they keep teasing stuff, but like nothing solid else. Oh, how did I forget this one? I know. I should have done better notes. And I even have it written down here. I just didn't look down. San Francisco and Baymax.
Yeah.
Like,
that's new.
Of all the people to forget that one, why am I the one forgetting that?
Probably because I made you like move furniture before we recorded, and like,
yeah,
I threw you off.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, now you can do a meet and greet with Baymax and Hero.
Uh-huh.
What was the Pacific Wharf is now San Francisco.
Yeah.
You can go there and eat and do the meet and greet. There's plenty of stuff for Baymax in that area now. Yeah. No ride still. I'd love to see a Baymax ride. Like, I think it's begging for some kind of ride.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's a roller coaster or something, like Baymax is begging for a ride. Trying to think of anything else that I forgot. Let me look at my notes.
Look at your notes.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is like I'm grateful for the things that were added. One of the things that came. We're only talking Disneyland DCA, or are we talking everything?
Right now we are. We'll make our way over to the East Coast here in just a bit. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the new stuff that came in 2023. 2023 in Disney World, we saw some other new stuff.
Yeah.
Or finally some finishing of some stuff. It's taken forever. Tron, I'm looking at you. It took forever. It's a short ride.
It is, but it's so good.
It is good. I thoroughly enjoy it.
I could do that over and over and over again.
It's just by looking at it, we knew it was going to be short.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew what it was because they have it in Shanghai.
Yeah.
So we knew what it was going to look like. Yeah, I'm with you. I could ride that thing multiple times a day and be good.
I mean, we got spoiled riding up front.
Right.
Like, so we don't even know what it is to ride behind other people and have that. But like, I would ride that over and over and over again. I'm so glad it's done. The one that I am really excited about to get to try to see here before long is I'm really excited about Moana.
Yeah.
And the World of Water.
Journey
of Water. And I understand that it's not a ride. It's not like,
right. It's what you're supposed to have. I know a lot of people don't want IP in Epcot, but it's what it's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Because it's what? Fun educational? Is that what they refer to it as? Where it's fun and educational.
Yes.
You're learning along the way, and the water's interactive with you along the way. You can take paths where you're probably going to get wet.
Yeah.
And others where you won't.
Right. I am super excited to see that. I want to see Te Fiti. I want to, see kind of the immersiveness of that. So I'm super excited about gaining that in 2023.
And we also gained a good chunk of World Celebration.
Yeah.
To where the ground lights up and the lighting around it lights up and goes with Spaceship Earth at night.
Yeah.
They're working on, because right after it first opened, they were having problems because they power washed the concrete and water got into the lights and it shorted some of them out.
How do you?
I don't know. I don't know. But last time I saw,
somebody didn't seal the silicone the way that they were supposed to.
Well, they said the thing I saw said that they're sealed, but they're not designed to have that amount of pressure from their pressure wash directly on them. I don't know.
Somewhere somebody didn't do their job.
Right. The last thing I saw, it looked like the vast majority of them were working again. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I am super excited because with that, we also got a new statue of Walt.
We did. Walt the Dreamer.
It's that I'm gonna cry. It's the statue that feels the most lifelike.
Right. You can like Walt the Dreamer is a like perfect name for that statue.
Yeah.
As he's like overlooking Epcot and
Well,
the
and
World
just the way that
Showcase and
he's
everything.
leaned
Yeah.
forward, and it just looks like he's just sitting
Right.
and participating, sitting and watching and
Yeah.
sitting and like he's just a part of it rather than this being like, up on kind of the pedestal like
Right.
partner statue is. It's like because it's just him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know you can, see the one like in touch the one with like Roy and Minnie and like, it's not
Uh-huh.
like you don't have opportunities to get up close to some of the other ones. But this is the first time you can like go and sit down next to him.
Right. Yep. You get your picture taken. You have a photo pass person right there. Everyone's taking pictures with their phones. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Like they really did a good job with that. And the way he's sitting on the bench, I know like some people were like kind of harping on that because he's not centered on this great big huge long bench.
Right.
He's more towards one side. And I'm sitting there going, who, if they have this great big long bench, goes and sits directly in the middle? Nobody. And now whenever you sit down next to him, you're centered
Mm-hmm.
in that picture.
Yeah.
Like, so they did that right.
Yeah.
Like, it just people are gonna nitpick about everything.
Of course.
So, but they did that right.
Super excited about getting to see that at some point.
Right. We gained Fantastic back. Like it came back to Hollywood Studios, which love that show.
Yes.
It's great. They kind of updated some things, and like there's a Mulan fight scene in it now that wasn't in there before. Yeah. Kind of updated the steamboat at the end a little bit. But yeah, still a great show. Still a great show. Love it.
No, I was super happy that we ended up going to that because we debated.
Right.
We had some other stuff we could go do, and we were definitely exhausted at that point.
Right.
When we went in August. But I'm glad. Super glad that we went and did
I'm glad we did. Hollywood Studios picked up something else, and that was Woody's Roundup Barbecue. As we've said before, from being from Kansas City, going to Disney World to eat barbecue just doesn't feel right.
Like we can't even eat at the American Pavilion.
Yeah, we haven't ate a Regal Eagle. We haven't ate a Polite Pig, which I think, like looking at it, my Polite Pig might be the closest.
Right.
But still, yeah, no.
I can't do it. I really do want to go and see it though, and see inside and participate.
I'm just afraid I won't be able to hear anything because it's very hard surfaces in there, and my hearing's not great. No.
It cracks me up all the time that you do all the editing on the audio for this, and it always cracks me up to be like, you're the one who can't hear.
Yeah, I put on the headphones and then I can hear stuff. We're good.
It really was a banner year. I mean, all things considered. There were some real big things that happened, and changes made, but altogether, it was a good year for Disney overall.
It was. Like,
even despite the controversy and things.
Yeah, and you had all these rumors of, oh, the crowds are really down this year. Well, yeah, the crowds were down a little bit, but the year before was like unbelievable because everybody was traveling post-COVID, right? So that slowed down a little bit, but like they still turned a huge profit.
Yeah,
huge profit. Like numbers weren't down that much.
No. One thing I did realize, though, we didn't talk about that they gained back this year, which was huge in my book. They finally brought back international cast members.
Yeah, it is big.
And I love the international cast members throughout the parks, not just in Epcot, but having the opportunity to have people from other countries and other parts of the world and other cultures get to speak into what's happening at Disney, I think is just such an important part of what Disney does.
Even if the dude over in France was arrogant and rude.
Well,
But
I wasn't in that line, so I don't.
yeah, we were getting a
I didn't
creme
have to deal with
brulee.
him.
Yeah, he was not pleasant. He was there.
It's pretty typical.
Yeah, it's okay.
He was
The other one that was there was fine. It was just that guy was a jerk.
well, maybe he was just having a bad day.
Maybe so. I don't know that I think that's everything we gained in 23.
It's a lot of the big highlights for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Would love to hear what some of your favorites are that you had added, that you were really excited about, that you want to hear us talk about more in the future about things that happened this last year. Would love to do that. And I do want to talk about some of our favorites, though, from this year. I mean, these are just
we had some big things that happened.
We had some big moments, big Disney moments this year.
Yeah. Yep. Should we combine both parks? Or are we just gonna go one park at a time? As in Disneyland, DCA, and then Walt Disney World.
So you're counting Disneyland, DCA as one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say let's split it up.
Okay.
So DCA, Disneyland, one.
Okay. And then Walt Disney World. Okay. So your biggest shock about Disneyland / DCA?
I already said this, but how immersive the different areas were. I'd already experienced Galaxy's Edge, so like I knew what to expect with that. I did not really fully know what to expect with Cars Land, with Toontown, with Avengers Campus, and I was shocked how comfortable I felt in those spaces and how comfortable I felt in DCA.
Right. I think for me I was shocked by how much I enjoyed DCA.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you hear people talk about Disneyland and DCA, like DCA just kind of it's the also ran, it's Disneyland itself is so great. Well, yeah, you got DCA over there as well. Like for us and for our kids, like they grew up with Cars and they grew up with Marvel. Like that was what was immersive for them.
Yeah.
Like,
and then and we'd already had that aspect of like they grew up with Star Wars and
and then to like come home and be months later and I see something about DCA and I'm like, oh, I really miss DCA.
Yeah, I really think that if we were magic key holders, if we could be out there all the time, like that's where we would be majority
Good possibly.
of the time.
Yeah.
Like that would for sure be at least a 60-40 split.
Right. There are like meet and greets over there. Like meet and greets, like we'll do a meet and greet, but it's not necessarily our thing. Like
it's not your thing.
It's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Don't say our. It's my thing. I like meet and greets.
Like there are way more opportunities for meet and greets in Disneyland, but there's still plenty in DCA as well.
Yeah.
So it's like I go through my head here. Yeah, I was completely blown away by DCA. I wasn't expecting that at all. Any big disappointments?
Again, we talked about this on our Disneyland DCA podcast this summer. Biggest disappointment was cast members.
Yeah.
We ran into more cast members that had an attitude of like, you should know this. And I think part of that is because they deal with so many locals.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is Splash Mountain had just closed down.
Right.
So they had dealt with those crowds and those people being, I'm sure, not so pleasant. But we ran into, multiple times.
Right.
We had some really amazing ones. We had some really, really good ones. But like, so don't get me wrong. It wasn't everybody. But I have never had in all of our Disney World experiences, I have
Right.
never had that many poor cast member interactions in one trip.
Right. The other thing that was going on there, it was also grad night season,
Mm-hmm.
and
So you had a lot of unchaperoned teenagers,
right,
or
because
barely chaperoned teenagers.
right, it was, and there were a ton of just graduated or about to graduate 8th graders.
Yeah.
Like the high school seniors weren't the problem.
No, it was the middle
Like for the
schoolers.
most part, they were okay, but a ton of middle schoolers who just were not pleasant.
Well, they were just 8th grade. I mean,
Right.
it's just hard to like. We have teenagers, we
Right.
know.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a hard thing but yeah, that was my biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
I
think that ties into mine as well. Like Disneyland started off so strong those first couple hours that we were there, and I'm like, okay, I get this. Like the characters are just walking around. You can do meet and greets as they're walking around. We're just hopping on whatever rides. Like this is awesome. And then it was like all of a sudden the buses arrived, and there were some spots like back there, like around like Pirates, and
it felt like chaos.
It was just insane. You couldn't hardly move. And
it didn't help that you have, you know, with having Splash, Tiana's,
right,
like not in all under construction, that takes up a lot of space. It eats up a lot of people. Like,
right.
You know, or like doesn't eat up a lot of people with. So it's hard.
It is.
You have to factor those things in.
But just even like spaces back in like Toontown, and like if we would not have gone in the morning,
we would not have enjoyed it as much.
No,
because we went back in the afternoon one day to meet Minnie, and that was a little chaotic.
Yeah. That was as busy at any Disney park that I had ever been to.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Sure.
That was rough.
The other thing I would say that was disappointing to me was I don't know if it's shocked or disappointed, or if it's just surprised.
Right.
I'm so surprised that the apps themselves and the systems that they use to check you in and like get on rides and like use your lightning lanes, like it's not integrated the same. The parks are like Disneyland DCA is completely different than Disney World.
Right.
And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to me. And I know part of it is that they were able to introduce Magic Bands so much earlier in Disney World because of having all of the on-property aspect.
Yeah.
And using them to get into your rooms, and like they were part of the package deal. So they were able to introduce that way more than what you have at Disneyland DCA. And I get that part, but it made it difficult. Like it was way more difficult to use and set up and add people and like get people in your parties and do that side of things. That was way more complex than it needed to be.
Yeah, I guess so. But at the same time, Genie Plus itself worked way better in California in Disneyland and DCA than it does in Florida.
There's also more rides in.
There is, but it definitely worked.
It worked differently, like for sure, and it
worked more with the ride
with the large party, which makes a big difference.
I think with the ride part, it worked more efficiently than it does in Disney
Except
World.
for when you have one person. So now the problem that you run into is like people trying to check in for lightning lanes with the way their system is. And you have more people they have to try to scan their phone. And if your phone dies, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a paper ticket.
Yeah, I mean, but you also run into that problem in Disney World.
You run into that problem in Disney World too, except for if you have a Magic Band.
Right.
And you've already scheduled that stuff, and now your phone dies, your Magic Band's still going to work.
Right. Like Magic Band still worked in Disneyland.
I know, but most people are using them. So you'd have somebody that was trying to scan their phone.
Right.
More people are trying to scan their phones and use Magic Bands.
All right. Any other highs from Disneyland?
World of Color.
World of Color. Yep.
World of Color was everything that any of the shows at Epcot should be.
Right.
It was I mean, I understand that like the whole trip, by the time we got to the end, one, the exhaustion setting in,
Right.
the it was emotional, all the things, but like I not only did I sob through all of it, but so did my sister. Like there was just so much emotion built into that show. I
Yeah.
super high. I'm so glad we did that show.
Yeah. My other high is definitely Cars Land. Like it's
Oh yeah.
my favorite land, definitely my favorite new land. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it and thoroughly enjoyed the food in Disneyland
Yes.
as compared to Walt Disney World.
We were talking about this ahead of doing the recording and saying that like we wish that we would have known, like we knew we were going to enjoy the food, but like how much we enjoyed
Right.
different food aspects and the creativity in some of it. It didn't feel so like big factory like esque, like big,
right.
like
yeah. No, I agree. I
don't know what
mean,
the word
it
is
was
for that.
even like you guys really enjoyed Lamplight Lounge, and I enjoyed the view from there. And then, like we were talking about, like Flo's is just fast food, but the atmosphere is so awesome. But yeah,
like, we had so much fun eating in there. Like, and we didn't do anything big.
Right.
Like it's just
they did Cars Land.
Oh, they did
so
it right.
well. So well.
I did ask my sister, we were talking to her this morning and we were trying to prep for today, and she asked her kids because they all went to Disneyland with us. And her oldest Avery said her favorite part of Disneyland was the rides and food. Of course, Hattie had to pipe up then and say Mickey because that was her favorite. Leo said riding really cool rides. He was like, Guardians. Hattie was like, no, I say the rides too. Avery said she liked the smuggler's ride. She could ride it over and over again. Hattie, she also really liked the roller coasters, and Minnie is her friend. I don't remember her riding any roller coasters,
though. No. I don't think she's tall enough.
I was trying to think if there was even, like, she wasn't even tall. Was she tall enough to do the Toontown one?
She may have been. She may have been.
Like, I can't think of any other ones that she would have done that were roller coaster-esque. I mean, she didn't get to do Radiator Springs Racers, and that was probably my other least favorite memory from 2023 was having to take Sam away from Radiator Springs Racers.
And he wasn't tall enough.
Him and Hattie were not tall enough, which Hattie was sad, but not old enough to really.
She wasn't comprehending.
No, she had just turned 3. Right. So, I mean, like, Sam knew what he was missing.
Yep. Okay, well, then let's go East Coast.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm super glad that we got to experience both in one year.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Biggest shock. We have the same biggest shock.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Disney World this year was but this is a personal experience. This isn't even like a experience that everybody gets to have. But
this was a surprise.
You guys have been following us for the last few months. You know, we got majorly upgraded. We got absolutely pixie dusted. It was like a pixie bomb. I mean, pixie dust bomb. Like, I don't even know. We got upgraded to a Bora Bora bungalow at Disney's Polynesian Resort.
I missed that.
I'm telling you, babe, we win Powerball. Like, I want like a permanent spot in one of those. Like, I don't care which one. It's mine. That is like the best little apartment there ever was. Yeah,
no, it's perfect. Like, I don't think there's anything else I can say about it that we haven't already said. It's just, it's really nice. It's peaceful. It's relaxing. Only bad thing about it is you won't feel bad going to the parks and wasting your time away and relaxing.
No, it is definitely a place where this is like the catch-22 of it, right? You need to stay there for a longer amount of time to really be able to enjoy it.
Yep.
So like you need like a 2 week there. right? Like,
Right.
I mean, and it's set up to be able to like stay there for
Right.
longer periods of time, but it's so dang expensive.
Right.
I'm like, I can't imagine paying for staying there for 2 weeks
That,
or even a full week.
yeah. Like 10 days. I mean, you're going to be looking at like
Yeah,
$30,000.
no, that
Right.
I can buy a car for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty fantastic. Yep. That was definitely our biggest shock. Biggest shock.
Biggest
for
shock,
the,
biggest highlight, biggest like high for
right.
us.
Right. I mean, there were other highs there. Like we both enjoyed Tron.
I loved Tron.
Right.
I loved Tron. I loved Guardian, getting to do Guardians again.
Yeah. Meeting Donald and Daisy on
Oh my gosh.
Boo to You was a good
Going
one.
and meeting them and getting basically like trampled by Daisy running up to hug me
Right.
was like,
Yeah.
it was so much fun. It was one of those moments where you really wish that some of those
Yeah.
characters could talk.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's only so much that can be said through the
Yeah.
like hand motions and
Yeah. I think one of the other highs is getting to meet friends down there
yeah.
that we've both been trying to meet for a while. So that was good on both ends.
Yeah, we both got to experience that. So
Yeah. That was definitely good. Any disappointments from that trip?
not really.
Yeah.
Like that one was a pretty dang good trip. Like there were very few
Any
things that I was really like disappointed. Yeah.
yeah.
Um it was hard. It was really hard to shift from the bungalow over to Wilderness, even though I
Yeah.
love Wilderness.
Right. And I was just going to another DVC room.
Yeah, like I love Wilderness. It before staying at the Poly, like I was 100% a Wilderness girl. Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I still am. Like I love Poly. I would love to spend more time there,
Right.
but I love the fact that Wilderness still feels very like
Secluded.
So that was like probably the hardest.
Yeah,
hardest
that
thing.
it was a rough transition. Like unless they were going to stick us in one of the cabins out there,
Yeah.
like which then I would have left property and went and bought that Powerball ticket. 'Cause,
I think my only like disappointment was, you know, when you still have the virtual queue thing happening and you're stuck in the aspect of confined to that timeline
right.
of when your group gets called. And I know there's a little bit of flexibility with that in the virtual queue part,
Uh-huh.
especially on the later end of like where you can be like, look, we just got out of our dining reservation.
Right.
Like there's a little bit more flexibility there, but it made it hard. Like one of the things that happened was we got our Tron boarding group called before our photo pass photos. And so we rode Tron before we went and did our photo pass photos.
Right.
And so that was a little hard because then, you know, I'm like trying to fix the makeup and like
Right.
fix the hair that I had curled. And
then it got us again that night. We were hoping to get to ride it at night during Mickey and Minnie's.
We got dusk.
We got dusk, but yeah.
We clicked too fast
We just did.
On the virtual queue. So that part is still like, I do have a big understanding of the why for the virtual queues.
Right.
But I'm always like, okay, at what point does this shift?
Right. I get what you're saying.
Like, at what point do you give me the option to just stand in line?
Right. I think one of my big disappointments is just how many people they cram into the Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah.
It's you really have to have a plan. Like if you're just going like this your first time going to the parks and you're like, hey, we got this great party, everyone tells us to go do it. I hope everyone told you like have a plan.
Yeah. I think the other thing with that is you have so many people that are like, oh, we can do this and we can do this and we can do this. And there's all kinds of different things to go do. You've got all the exclusive character meet and greets. You've got all of the food that you can go try. You've got all of the ride overlays. and like the DJ parties and the shows in front of the castle and the fireworks show and the parade and like there's all of these different things. It is absolutely impossible to do all of those things in one party.
Yeah.
Now you can get in
a lot of them.
You can get in a lot of them to experience that, but you can't get all of those things done within that party, right? You're not going to explore the whole park and ride all the rides and see both or all three shows,
right?
And meet all the characters.
Yeah.
And do all the things. And on top of that, if you want to meet Jack Skellington,
right,
and Sally, or the Seven Dwarfs,
right,
you have to have a park ticket for that day.
Yeah.
And get into the park
right
earlier than everybody else and go get in line.
Right.
At like 3:30.
Yeah, they really need to go. Like our friend Kari Kaw, who's been on here a couple times, like he crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also like the third time he's done it.
Right. And he knows the things that he's going to go and do with it.
Right.
And that's what he sticks to.
And he's really kind of figured out like the best way for him to go and do those. But yeah, he did that. Like he was in the park that day and was able to get in line early and then go from Jack and Sally over to Seven Dwarfs. So I mean, yeah. I guess that's one of my disappointments. Yeah.
It was a lot of people. I was really glad that we were able to like run into some other people on like the Skyliner and chat with them about it and give them some advice on that. Hopefully
it all worked out for them. Any other highs, lows, disappointments from any of the parks? I think only other one I'd like to throw in there is maybe going to eat at Flying Fish. Flying Fish, the food was fantastic. The people behind us, not so much, which kind of took away from it a little bit. Yeah. But my steak in that potato wafer wedge thing, like that thing was awesome.
No, we tried each other's food and it was like all of it was amazing. The food was great. It definitely was, even though it's a really nice restaurant and it's like good for like a date or you know, just a couple, like it's definitely more adult.
Oh, 100%.
It really would have been a nice one to do and have a table of people that you enjoy. Right. Now, we had a table by us. We talked about this before, like of people who were very loud and boisterous, but they were not. It wasn't like going with like your best friends.
Or right. Like no, it was like your best. It was definitely a salesman there, and treating other people from this conference that they were at. So that's why it kind of took away from it a little bit. But other than that, like I really enjoyed Flying Fish. Like it's a meal that stood out for me. I know when we were talking about it earlier, you said Lamplight out in DCA, which the view was fantastic. Like I didn't enjoy my food, but that's just me.
No, it was a great ending for us as far as like the way that evening worked out.
So I think this would be a good time to put out. We'd love to hear some of your favorite things that maybe you did at Disney, whether it was Disneyland or Walt Disney World. Maybe you were lucky enough and got to go overseas to Tokyo or Paris. Someday. But you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram as Salute to the Ears.
And if you are on Threads with Instagram, you can also hit us up on there now.
Yep.
We joined Threads.
We did. And with that, I'm going to say go out and find your joy.
And have a magical week.